Since her exit from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Garcelle Beauvais has been keeping busy. She's been traveling, working, and booking acting gigs, and being a supportive momager for her son Jade's modeling career. Garcelle has also been putting an emphasis on her personal time. In fact, she shared a stunning selfie in August, captioning it, "Energy speaks before words do," which seems to speak to where she's at these days. Of course, she's also making time for all her loved ones, including her one very special guy. We are referring to her beloved dog, Kobe. Garcelle shared a photo of her and Kobe out, and about that proves just how much she loves the pooch. "Our Friday vibe," she captioned the set of photos of her and Kobe driving around town together. Kobe has been a beloved member of Garcelle's family since she adopted him in 2023. Inside Garcelle Beauvais' life after RHOBH Season 14. ICYMI, Garcelle confirmed her exit from RHOBH after Season 14 back in March of this year. "I have some news. I've decided to leave Beverly Hills. It's been a wild ride. I mean, some amazing things have happened, and some hard things have also happened. But it's been a ride nevertheless," she shared on Instagram, adding she wanted to spend more time focused on her teen twin sons, as well as the most exciting projects that I am developing, producing, and acting in. Garcelle Beauvais' dating life updates. Garcelle's life includes several special guys, sorry Kobe, like her 3 sons, Jade, Jax, and Oliver, and her grandson, Oliver Jr. However, more recently, it was reported that her inner circle has grown, and she is rumored to be dating someone new. Garcelle and her rumored new man were spotted out together during a trip to NYC back in July. Since then, Garcelle has given many peeks into her life today, including beach days and other outings, all while putting her family, as well as her other personal and professional interests, on her busy schedule. Garcelle Beauvais shares updates on her sons and grandkids. It should be noted that when Garcelle does need a little girl time, she is also a proud grandma to Oliver's daughter, Valerie Marie Claire. She makes sure to get in as much time as she can with her 2 young grandkids, as evidenced by a recent photo shared by their dad, Oliver. Garcelle also recently made a stop in Las Vegas, where she caught up with her eldest son, revealing that Oliver still works for Lisa Vanderpump at her Sin City hotspot, Vanderpump Paris. She's also been hanging out with King's Court bachelor Tyson Beckford, who was on hand to offer up some modeling advice to her son. Speaking of her connections to Bravolebs, Garcelle recently shared a peek at where she stands with Kathy Hilton now. "There's something about silence in a city that never really sleeps. At 4:45 a.m., Los Angeles wasn't quiet, but it was still enough for Garcelle Beauvais to hear herself think." She stood barefoot on the balcony of her Hollywood Hills home, clutching a mug of turmeric tea, wrapped in a silky robe the color of midnight. Below, the city stretched wide like a promise and a threat. Her beloved dog, Kobe, padded up beside her and nudged her leg softly. "You and me, kid," she whispered, rubbing his ears. It had been 6 months since she'd left The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and contrary to what the blogs had suggested, it wasn't because of a scandal, feud, or producer fallout. Garcelle had simply woken up one morning, stared at her own reflection, and felt the echoing ache of someone else's narrative pressing down on her shoulders. She was done being a subplot. Now, at 58, Garcelle had become the architect of her own storyline, and the blueprint was just getting started. Chapter 1. The Exit. When she posted the now iconic Instagram reel in March, announcing her departure, fans speculated wildly. Some thought she was gearing up to join another franchise. Others wondered if she was headed back to the big screen full-time. The truth? She was working on something much bigger, a story that wasn't just for ratings, but for legacy. The departure wasn't just from RHOBH, but from every box she'd been placed in. The model, the ex-wife, the mother, the best friend, the token voice of reason in a room full of chaos. Garcelle had spent years uplifting others' narratives. Now, she was writing her own. The project? Her phone pinged with a text from Diane, her producing partner, friend, and now confidant in an unannounced hush-hush project. Diane, Netflix call at 9. They're in. Garcelle's heart leaped. She had pitched Étoile Noire, a limited drama series inspired by her childhood in Haiti, her immigration to the U.S., and the complex beauty of rising up in an industry that rarely made room for girls like her. She was starring, producing, and co-directing one episode. The call at 9 a.m. would change everything. The rumor: Garcelle hated gossip unless it was about someone else. But in July, Page 6 had splashed her across the headlines. Garcelle spotted holding hands with mystery man in NYC. Could love be back on the table? The truth was, maybe. His name was Cassian, French, like her roots, with salt and pepper hair, a jawline that belonged in GQ, and a voice like a jazz record in a candlelit bar. He wasn't in entertainment. In fact, he worked in sustainable architecture and didn't even own a television. Their first conversation had lasted 3 hours. Their second date? A walk in Central Park with Cobb. But Garcelle wasn't rushing anything. Love had broken her once, but she had pieced herself back together without bitterness. Now she had room for companionship, but not at the cost of herself. The sun's jade was soaring. After a shoot with Calvin Klein, he'd signed with IMG Models and was splitting time between LA and Paris. His twin Jax had taken a different path, into social activism and mental health advocacy, speaking at universities and working on his first book. Oliver had just been promoted to assistant GM at Vanderpump Paris, and his little girl, Valley Marie Claire, had wrapped her tiny fingers around Garcelle's heart tighter than anything since the day her sons were born. On weekends, her house filled with noise again, tickle fights, spilled juice boxes, coloring books across the kitchen table. For all her red carpets, those messy mornings were the ones she treasured. The encounter? It happened in Las Vegas, oddly enough. Garcelle had flown in for Oliver's birthday and was staying at the Venetian. She had just wrapped dinner with Lisa Vanderpump when she was approached by a woman in the casino lounge, older, with silver braids and violet eyes. "You don't know me," the woman said, "but you're going to." Garcelle blinked. "Excuse me." "I had a vision. You're about to do something that changes the course of your family's legacy. You've already started, but be careful. Not everyone clapping for you is your fan." Before Garcelle could respond, the woman was gone, vanished into the crowd. That night, Garcelle dreamed of her late mother, Felicia, standing in the surf of a Haitian beach, whispering a warning she couldn't quite make out. The launch. By August, Étoile Noire had been greenlit. Vanity Fair requested an exclusive. Oprah's team called. Her agents were scrambling to juggle the mounting offers. The girl from Haiti was about to make history as the first Haitian-born black woman to helm a series for a major U.S. streamer. But amid the whirlwind, Garcelle stayed grounded. She meditated every morning. She hosted dinner parties for her inner circle, never more than 10 guests. She spent Sundays with Cobb hiking to Panga Canyon and talking to her mother in the wind. The world was watching, but she wasn't performing. Not anymore. The truth comes out. The closer her show came to release, the louder the noise grew. A tabloid released an exclusive about her ex-husband's past, claims that could have overshadowed the series. She sat down with the cut and told her truth, not as damage control, but as catharsis. "We are allowed to have multiple chapters," she said. "I am more than my marriages, more than my mistakes, more than what anyone edits me down to." The interview went viral. Young girls quoted her. Women in their 40s and 50s sent DMs saying, "Thank you for reminding me I'm not too late to start over." The premiere. The night of the premiere, Garcelle stood on the rooftop of the Academy Museum, wearing a shimmering black gown that caught the LA skyline in every fold. Her sons flanked her. Cashin held her hand. Kobe wore a tiny bowtie and posed for every photo like a pro. As the first episode played on the big screen, tears slipped down her cheeks. It was her story, but it was everyone's story. Of migration, of motherhood, of identity, of loss, of love, of becoming. When the credits rolled, there was a standing ovation. And for the first time in a long time, Garcelle didn't feel like she was surviving Hollywood. She was redefining it. Epilogue: The future. A month later, she got the call. An Emmy nomination, Best Actress in a Limited Series. She didn't scream, she didn't jump. She simply closed her eyes, pressed her hand to her heart, and whispered, "Mercy, my man." Because she knew this wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. Author's note: the reinvention of Garcelle is a fictionalized, creative retelling inspired by the public persona, updates, and life of Garcelle Beauvais. It honors her real achievements while imagining a path that blends glamour, legacy, and the power of starting anew, at any age.